You. Success isn't a handout. It's a combat mission. You train for it. You fight for it. No one drops rank on you just because you showed up. You don't get the medal for signing up. You earn it by surviving the battlefield, staying alert when everyone else falls asleep on their goals. Success doesn't arrive with a knock. It breaches your comfort zone, tests your stamina, and demands a level of mental fortitude most people aren't willing to develop. It's not something you find. It's something you forge through blood, through scars, through lonely nights and silent wars most will never know you fought. There's no luxury of entitlement in the war zone of personal growth. No one's coming to rescue you. No shortcuts, no fairy tale endings. There's only the mission and your discipline. The comfort you crave is the very thing that's keeping you from elevation. Most people want to be successful, but they want to skip the training, avoid the bruises, and bypass the humility that comes with failure. But a soldier who hasn't tasted dirt doesn't understand how valuable it is to stand tall. You don't rise because someone allowed you to. You rise because you refuse to stay down. Success demands repetition. It demands obsession. You don't rehearse once and expect mastery. You train until it becomes instinct, until discipline is your second skin. And when you feel like breaking, when your knees shake and your willpower starts to fold, that's the moment you push harder. That's the moment you prove to yourself, not the world, that you're not in this for applause, you're in this for legacy. No one applauds the soldier mid-battle. The recognition comes after. But the real warriors don't chase medals, they chase missions. Look around, most people are surviving, few are winning. Why? Because success requires sacrifices most won't make. It'll ask you to isolate, to cut ties, to say no to mediocrity in every form, even when it's dressed as comfort, friendship, or even family. Success exposes weakness, not just in you, but in those around you. It reveals who's genuinely rooting for you and who's quietly resenting your grind. And you must have the courage to see it. You must be bold enough to stand in rooms where no one claps, where no one believes in you, and still move forward. Because success is lonely before it's loud. You train in silence. You execute in silence. And then the results roar louder than any excuse you could have made. That's how it works. And if you're not willing to suffer, you're not ready to succeed. The path isn't paved with praise. It's lined with resistance, ridicule, and rejection. And you push through every inch of it, not because you enjoy the pain, but because you understand the price. And because you respect the reward enough not to ask for discounts. You want elevation, then embrace the grind, own the scars. Treat your morning routine like a battle drill. Treat your goals like coordinates. Lock in, lock out everything else. Build your discipline like muscle. Because when the bullets of life fly, talent won't save you. Charisma won't shield you. Only preparation will, only mental warfare training. We want that win, then bleed for it, sweat for it, lose for it, learn for it. Show up again and again, even when it's not fair, not fun, and not fast. Because that's how warriors earn victory. Not by chance, not by luck, but by refusing to surrender when everything inside them screamed to quit. You either train for the battle or you become a casualty of comfort. You either step into the fire willingly or life drags you through it unprepared. You either define your purpose, or distractions define you. You either lead yourself or you follow the noise of a world that never cared whether you made it or not. This mission isn't for everyone. But if it's for you, then act like it, show up like it, fight like it. Entitlement is the enemy of elevation. Nothing great comes gift wrapped. The moment you believe you're owed something just for existing is the moment you disqualify yourself from greatness. Success doesn't recognize comfort. It doesn't respond to demands. It answers only to discipline, sacrifice, and relentless consistency. People walk around expecting life to hand them blessings simply because they have ambition, as if wanting more is enough. But want is not work. Desire is not delivery. Elevation doesn't rise from wishes. It's carved out of pressure, forged through fire, and tested in isolation. Entitlement whispers that you've done enough, that you deserve more than you've earned, that just showing up should be sufficient. But life is not a participation trophy ceremony. Just because you're tired doesn't mean you've trained hard. Just because you've been through pain doesn't mean you've grown. Growth is not guaranteed just because you suffered. Elevation requires intention. It requires showing up after failure, doubling down after rejection, and staying locked in when no one claps for your effort. Entitlement expects results without sacrifice. But elevation demands both pain and precision. There's a dangerous mindset growing louder in a world addicted to validation. This idea that effort without excellence should still be rewarded. That trying is enough, but it's not. Trying without improving is motion without direction. It's noise without signal. You can run in circles for a lifetime and call it hustle, but you'll never elevate unless your motion is disciplined, your mindset is sharpened, and your mission is clear. Entitlement asks, why not me? Elevation asks, how can I be better than I was yesterday? Look around. You'll see people who feel cheated by life. They're angry at the system, bitter at other people's success, resentful that their gifts haven't been recognized. But gifts without grind rot into regret. Talent without tenacity turns toxic. No one gets to skip the line because they're talented. You don't ascend because you feel like you should. You rise because you prepared when others rested, sacrificed, when others settled, and pushed through storms that broke lesser men. Nothing great ever comes wrapped in ease. Elevation is earned in sweat, not granted in sympathy. Every high performer, every true leader, every master of their craft bled for it in ways you'll never see. Behind every polished performance is a graveyard of broken moments, late nights, lost friendships, silent battles, and invisible discipline. And still, the world only sees the highlight reel. And if you're not careful, you'll look at someone's mountain and envy it without understanding the weight of every rock they had to carry to build it. Entitlement convinces you that obstacles are injustice, but elevation sees them as opportunity. The storm is not a punishment, it's preparation. And if you're constantly avoiding the hard path, demanding ease or waiting for someone to lift you up, you're not ready for the altitude you claim to want. Because the higher you go, the thinner the air gets. The pressure intensifies. The distractions multiply. And if you've been carried the whole way up, you won't have the strength to survive at the top. Entitlement will keep you grounded in fantasy while calling it faith. It'll whisper that you're ready before you've built the foundation. It'll have you demanding loyalty you haven't earned, respect you haven't embodied, and outcomes you haven't trained for. It makes you forget that greatness isn't about what the world gives you. It's about what you give to the world when no one's watching. Elevation is lonely work. It doesn't flatter your ego. It humbles it, it breaks it down, reshapes it, and rebuilds it into something unshakable. You don't get there by hoping. You get there by grinding when the mood is gone. By showing up when your hands are trembling and your confidence is shot, and by continuing forward when every excuse feels justified. If you're waiting for life to gift you greatness, you'll die waiting. If you're waiting for people to hand you purpose, you'll stay lost. Nothing of lasting value ever came without cost. And if you truly want to rise, you have to destroy the idea that you're owed anything. You're not owed victory. You're not owed respect. You're not owed support. You earn every inch, every step. Every breakthrough with focused obsession, unwavering integrity, and a mindset that treats comfort like the enemy it is. Demons don't show up in horns. They show up in comfort, fake loyalty to you. And easy talk, they don't announce themselves with evil laughter or sharp fangs. They show up with soft words, familiar faces, and the kind of energy that lulls you into lowering your guard. They dress themselves in your language, mirror your dreams, and claim to support your mission while secretly undermining your mindset. They look like old friends, smiling family members, your friendly colleagues who pat you on the back but poison your vision behind closed doors. And the most dangerous part is they rarely even know they're demons, because the worst kind of sabotage is the kind that's normalized. They thrive in your comfort zones. That inner voice that tells you to rest a little longer, to ease up, to just go with the flow. That voice is often a demon in disguise. It's the assassin of momentum. You're dressed in the robes of self-care. True rest is earned, but comfort without effort is spiritual decay. Demons hide behind your excuses. They wait for moments when you're vulnerable and whisper familiar lies that you're doing enough, that you're fine where you are, that there's no need to push harder. They weaponize your past pain and use your insecurities to convince you that elevation is too risky. And if you're not vigilant, you'll agree with them. You'll start settling, softening, surrendering, calling it peace when it's actually paralysis. Fake loyalty is another mask. Some demons don't want to destroy you directly. They just want to stay close enough to keep you small. These are the people who say they believe in you, but always have a reason why your dreams are too much. They love the older version of you, the version that doubted, the version that needed them, the version that wasn't threatening. But when you start growing, when your standards shift, when your boundaries tighten, they flinch, they mock your new path, they question your intentions. They remind you of your past, not to keep you humble, but to keep you stuck. And because they come dressed as love, you listen, you keep them close, you let them influence your decisions. That's the trap. Easy talk is the bait. Demons use words like weapons, smooth, flattering, calculated. They tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. They avoid hard conversations and push false positivity. They nod when you're wrong and stay silent when you're slipping. Real allies hold you accountable. They challenge your comfort. They sharpen your character. But demons, they'll let you drown in your own excuses as long as it keeps you accessible, non-threatening, and easy to control. They don't care about your growth. They care about their place in your life. And if your growth threatens that, they'll sabotage it in silence. The battlefield isn't always external. Sometimes the war is fought at the dinner table, on the phone at midnight, in the group chat you've outgrown but are too afraid to leave. Demons are strategic. They don't just attack, they infect. They get into your rhythm, your emotions, your logic. They make dysfunction feel like loyalty and stagnation feel like stability. They anchor you in old patterns by using old connections. They make you feel guilty for evolving, you ashamed for outgrowing, and selfish for choosing your sanity over shared history. And they always say the same things. You've changed. You're different. You're too serious now, as if those are insults. As if growth is betrayal, as if the real crime is becoming the person you were born to be. And the more you elevate, the more subtle they become. They won't yell. They'll whisper. They won't confront. They'll suggest. They won't leave. They'll linger just enough to influence you. That's why discernment is your greatest defense. You must study patterns, not just words, energy, not just tone. Loyalty isn't about proximity. It's about consistency, truth, and alignment. Anyone can stand beside you when you're losing. The question is who gets uncomfortable when you start winning, who jokes about your progress, downplays your discipline, or suddenly grows distant when your name starts ringing differently. Those are your red flags. That's the devil in disguise. And if you don't cut those ties, they'll become chains. They won't stop you with force. They'll distract you with familiarity. And soon, you'll forget you were meant to fly. Watch who laughs when you fail and who goes silent when you win. The truth about people is not revealed in your struggle, but in your success. Failure exposes the world's amusement, but success reveals its resentment. When you fall, the masks come off. People who pretended to care show a little smirk. They might not say it out loud, but you'll feel it. That subtle joy they get from watching you miss the mark. They'll cloak it as a joke, a tease, a casual comment, but you'll catch the undertone, that hint of relief that you didn't rise, because your failure keeps them comfortable. It confirms their belief that they don't need to try harder. You don't need to change, don't need to grow. As long as you're down, they don't have to level up. And so they laugh, not always with cruelty, but always with confirmation that they're safe from the challenge your success would have presented. But watch closely. The most unsettling silence doesn't come when you're losing. It comes when you're finally winning. When you start breaking patterns, building consistency, elevating your standards, suddenly the energy changes. People who once called daily start going quiet. The ones who said, "I'm proud of you," stop saying it. You start noticing the congratulations feel forced or worse, non-existent. And it's not because they didn't see your win. They saw it. They just couldn't swallow it. They couldn't stand the reflection it created, that maybe your breakthrough shines a light on their stagnation, that maybe your courage reveals their comfort, that your discipline exposes their delay. And so rather than celebrate, they vanish. Some people love you broken. They love you doubting. They love you questioning your worth, because as long as you're unsure of yourself, they feel secure in their own mediocrity. But when you step into power, when your actions start aligning with your vision, when you finally start showing the world who you really are, that's when you find out who is really for you. Not everyone will clap when you win, and not because they hate you. Sometimes your victory is just a mirror they don't want to face. When you were struggling, they had advice, they had sympathy, they had time. But now that you're executing, leading changing, they have excuses. They say they're busy. They say they didn't know. But silence speaks. Silence screams. And it tells you everything about their character. Some people weren't supporting you. They were just tolerating you, waiting to see if you'd fail so they could feel better about never trying. Their love had a limit. Their presence had a price. As long as you stayed small, they stayed around. Jealousy doesn't always show up with sharp words. Sometimes it shows up with absence. It shows up in the people who vanish from your corner when you finally start building something real. It shows up in the friend who's suddenly too busy to talk to you. It shows up in the relative who skips over your name when praising everyone else. It shows up in the long-time companion who suddenly finds flaws in your every move now that the world is noticing you. And if you're not careful, you'll chase their approval, not realizing you're begging the insecure to validate your evolution. Don't. You don't need applause to walk in purpose. You don't need permission to succeed. Every level of growth comes with a new layer of exposure. You don't just learn more about yourself, you learn more about your circle. And sometimes the loss of people is part of the win. Sometimes the silence around you is divine protection. Because not everyone is meant to stand in your light. Not everyone can handle your next chapter. Some were only characters in the struggle scenes, never meant to last through the triumph. So pay attention. Watch the patterns. Observe the energy. Your wins will draw both light and shadow. Learn to distinguish between who's really with you and who only clapped when you were losing. Not every "I'm proud of you" is pure. Some are poisoned with envy. People don't always hate you loudly. Sometimes they applaud with bitterness in their breath and congratulate you through clenched teeth. The words sound supportive. The tone may even be warm. But if you pay attention to the eyes, the energy, the subtle hesitations, you'll hear what they're really saying. How dare you rise without me? Some "I'm proud of you" moments come not from love, but from a place of control. They liked you better when you were behind, when you were questioning yourself, when you needed them to lift you. But now that you're ascending without permission, they offer congratulations laced with conflict. Envy isn't always loud. It doesn't always show up in sabotage or open disrespect. Sometimes it comes wearing a smile, sitting across the table from you, saying all the right things with all the wrong intentions. They don't want to see you fail necessarily, but they'd rather you not succeed so publicly. They'd rather your elevation be quieter, smaller, less disruptive to their internal image of where they stand in relation to you. Because your growth shifts the dynamic. It forces people to confront their own stagnation. And instead of rising with you, some choose to dress their resentment in shallow praise. Their "I'm proud of you" is more performance than truth. You can feel it when it happens. There's an emotional disconnect. The words are there, but the warmth is missing. They speak pride, but can't make eye contact. They praise you, but change the subject quickly. They acknowledge your progress, but there's an edge, a tension in the way they speak your name now. It's no longer just about being proud of you. It's about managing how your success reflects on them, They measure your growth against their own life and begin to keep score, even if only silently. And what once was a bond built on authenticity turns into a quiet competition rooted in insecurity. People will say they're proud, but watch their actions. Does their energy rise when yours does? Do they amplify your voice when you're winning, or do they step back into the shadows? Uncomfortable with your spotlight. Some people were comfortable with your potential, but not your power. They admired your dreams, but your discipline intimidates them. Your wins aren't just victories, they're reminders of everything they told themselves they couldn't do. And instead of being inspired, they grow resentful. Sometimes it's not even conscious. Some of the envy is quiet, buried beneath layers of love and history. It's a conflict between genuinely caring about you and feeling threatened by what your success symbolizes. Either way, they want to be happy for you. They might even believe they are, but deep down there's a sting. And that sting shows up in micro moments or in backhanded compliments, in sarcasm, masked as humor. In the absence of real support when you need it most, they might still say, "I'm proud of you." But it comes after a sigh, after a delay. After they've digested the fact that your momentum is now a mirror. Because when you grow, you don't just change locations or income levels, you change frequencies. And some people can't tune into your new level. They don't understand your urgency, your silence, your shift in priorities. And rather than admit they no longer recognize the version of you who's emerging, they pretend to celebrate you while secretly hoping you'll slow down, come back, dim your light just enough for them to feel tall again. That's not pride. You. That's proximity envy. It hides in people who say the right words but can't match the emotion, in those who show up for the picture but not the process, in those who say, you've changed, like it's a crime instead of a compliment. The hardest part is realizing that some of the people closest to you are cheering with one hand while crossing their fingers with the other. They say they're proud, but their spirit is unsettled. They say they support you, but their silence during your biggest moments speaks louder. You don't need to call them out. You don't even need to confront it. Just recognize it. Not every hand on your shoulder is there to steady you. Some are only holding on to keep you within reach. Success will demand distance, and sometimes that distance is from your own blood. It's a harsh truth people don't like to talk about because we're conditioned to believe that family is untouchable, immune to boundaries, above accountability. But the journey to becoming who you're meant to be will often reveal that the people closest to you, the ones who helped raise you, the ones who share your last name, your traditions, your memories, can also be the ones holding you back. It's not always out of malice. Sometimes it's rooted in fear, misunderstanding, or an outdated perception of who you used to be. But whether the resistance is loud or subtle, the result is the same. Your growth threatens their comfort, and your pursuit of purpose becomes a problem. There will come a moment where the vision that burns in your chest starts to collide with the expectations of your family. They'll tell you to slow down, to be grateful for what you already have, to stop chasing things that don't make sense to them. They'll bring up how things have always been done. They'll remind you of your past, your flaws, your former limitations, not always to harm you, but to tether you to a version of yourself that feels safe to them. And if you're not careful, you'll internalize that. You'll start shrinking yourself to fit back into their narrative. You'll stop dreaming out loud. You'll mute your ambition. You'll start mistaking guilt for loyalty and confusion for care. Family is not a free pass to stay in your life without responsibility. Just because someone loves you doesn't mean they support your growth. Just because someone's known you since birth doesn't mean they know who you're becoming. Sometimes your elevation demands that you create distance, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself enough to stop being drained. Because success isn't just about achievement, it's about alignment. And not everyone who's related to you is aligned with your calling. Some will mock it, some will question it, some will try to control it, and some will sabotage it, all while saying they're doing it out of love. The most painful battlefield is the one where you have to choose between your future and your family's comfort. But you must choose you, because success won't wait for you to explain your boundaries to people who've decided they don't want to understand. You'll try. You'll sit down and speak with clarity, with grace, with patience. You'll try to share your vision, hoping they'll see what you see. Some will, others will not, but remain rooted in denial. And eventually, you'll realize that some bridges don't need to be burned. They need to be never crossed again. You'll grieve. You'll wrestle with the emotional weight of distancing from people who were once your foundation. But you'll also breathe. You'll find peace in the silence. You'll gain clarity that chaos once clouded. And slowly you'll begin to attract new circles, not bound by blood, but by belief. People who see your hunger and feed it. People who don't feel threatened by your glow. People who clap when you rise because they've done their own work to rise as well. The world will tell you that cutting ties with family is betrayal. But success will teach you that staying connected to dysfunction is self-sabotage. You can love people from afar. You can pray for them, wish them well, and still refuse to let them speak into your vision. The path you're walking requires energy, focus, and emotional stability. And if being around your blood drains that from you, then distance isn't disrespect. It's discipline. It's protection. It's the cost of clarity. You weren't born to stay small for the sake of anyone's comfort, even your family's. Legacy doesn't ask for permission. Purpose doesn't ask who it will offend. And growth doesn't stop at the family tree. It climbs higher, branches out wider, and sometimes it grows in directions your bloodline never imagined. You are not here to relive their history. You are here to rewrite it, even if it means doing so alone for a while. Accountability is your armor. Victimhood is theirs. That's the line that separates builders from blamers, warriors from whiners. Leaders from those still waiting to be rescued. Accountability is not just a trait, it's a shield, the protection you wear when life throws chaos your way. It's the mindset that says, No matter who caused the fire, I'm still responsible for putting it out. It means taking ownership even when it's uncomfortable, even when it hurts you, even when there's 1,000 easier people to point the finger at, because accountability isn't about guilt, it's about control, and if you don't own your life, someone else will. Victimhood, you, on the other hand, is a costume, one that many people wear for sympathy, for attention, for deflection. They wrap themselves in their pain and walk into every room announcing it like a badge of honor. But pain isn't the problem. We all go through storms. The real issue is the mindset that builds a home inside the storm instead of building strength from it. Victimhood is addictive because it's easy. It's easier to blame your parents, your boss, your partner, your upbringing, your past. It's easier to say, life did this to me, than to say, I allowed this and now I must change it. Victimhood removes the pressure of growth. It convinces you that you're powerless. And people who feel powerless will stay stuck their entire lives while convincing themselves it's not their fault. Accountability sharpens you. It makes you dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a focused, resilient, unshakable way. When you wear accountability as armor, the world can't knock you off course so easily. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop waiting for ideal conditions and start creating your own standards. You don't get distracted by what's fair or unfair. You get busy building what needs to be built. That's why it's so threatening to people who live in victimhood. Your accountability exposes their excuses. Your discipline exposes their delay. Your focus reminds them that they could have been further along too, if only they'd taken ownership instead of hiding behind blame. The moment you start owning your life, your circle gets uncomfortable. People who are comfortable being your sounding board for complaints will feel out of place when you stop complaining. They were comfortable with your weakness because it validated theirs. But when you stop making excuses, when you stop pointing outward and start looking inward, they either have to grow or go. And many will choose to leave, not because they hate you, but because your armor reminds them that they're still walking around exposed, vulnerable, stuck in stories they never challenged. You'll hear them say things like, "You've changed," as if that's a crime. Or, "You're acting better than us now," because they mistake boundaries for arrogance. What they don't realize is that accountability isn't pride, it's freedom. It frees you from the emotional roller coaster of needing external validation. It frees you from repeating generational cycles. It frees you from the illusion that life owes you anything. You owe it to yourself to rise. And that rise begins with owning your story, your decisions, your reactions, your time, and your habits. Victimhood will have you surrounded by people who reinforce your pain. Accountability will leave you walking alone at times. It's a lonely climb, but it's a powerful one. When you stop saying, "They did this to me," and start asking, "What can I do now?" you shift from powerless to powerful. And the moment you do that, you become untouchable in a world full of excuses. People will try to bring you back down to their level of emotional dependency, but you won't be able to relate anymore. You won't find peace in their drama or identity in their pity parties. You'll start seeing things for what they are, the patterns, the projections, the emotional manipulation, the energy drains disguised as connection. You'll stop apologizing for doing what they wouldn't, for facing what they avoided, for becoming who they were too afraid to attempt becoming. Accountability isn't for everyone. It's for the ones who are tired of being tired of cycles, tired of regret, tired of repeating chapters that should have closed years ago. It's for the ones who understand that peace doesn't come from people treating you better. It comes from you treating yourself like someone worth protecting. And sometimes that means putting on the armor, stepping into your life like a soldier, and refusing to play dead in battles you were born to win. You don't need a crowd to rise. You need clarity, your discipline, and a damn spine. The myth that success comes wrapped in applause and surrounded by people is exactly that, a myth. Real elevation happens in silence, in solitude. In those moments when you're standing alone with your vision, your doubts, and your will, clarity cuts through the noise. It gives you a laser focus on what truly matters and what doesn't. It demands that you define your why so sharply that distractions bounce off you like bullets. Without clarity, you'll chase every shiny thing, get pulled into every argument, and wander down every path except the one meant for you. Clarity makes you ruthless with your time and energy. It's the difference between wandering lost and marching forward with purpose. you. Discipline is the muscle that keeps you moving when motivation dies. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a commitment. Discipline is showing up when you're exhausted and inspired and doubting everything. It's waking up before the world stirs and grinding long after most quit. Discipline is the quiet force that turns dreams into habits and habits into results. Without discipline, clarity is just a wish, a nice idea with no legs to carry it forward. You can have the clearest vision in the world, but if you don't put in the work every single day, it's meaningless. Discipline turns potential into power. And then there's the spine, the backbone, the courage, the unbreakable resolve that says, no matter what, I'm not backing down. Having a spine means standing firm when the crowd doubts you, when the voices in your head scream that you're not enough, and when everyone around you tries to pull you off course. It means embracing discomfort, rejection, and failure as necessary steps on the road to greatness. A spine keeps you from bending under pressure. You're from folding to fear, from trading your integrity for approval. Without a damn spine, clarity and discipline don't stand a chance. You'll get knocked down every time because you lack the guts to stay up. The truth is, most people will not be behind your rise. They'll gossip, question, and criticize you. They'll tell you it's too risky, too ambitious, or too out there. Some will even pretend to support you while secretly hoping you fail. That's why you don't need a crowd. You need a few real ones or none at all. Your rise is personal. It's a battlefield where you face your own limitations, fears, and doubts. It's a grind that won't be glamorous, easy, or fast. It will test your resolve and reveal who you truly are beneath the surface. And the crowd, they'll only show up for the highlight reel, never for the hard work behind the scenes. Rising alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means being intentional with your time and connections. It means building a fortress around your vision and not letting just anyone inside. Clarity helps you identify who's really in your corner. Discipline keeps you aligned with your mission. And your spine protects you from toxic influences disguised as support. When you cultivate these three, you become a force that doesn't need validation to move forward. You become someone who doesn't wait for permission or approval. You become the leader of your own life. The world loves to tell stories of overnight success and instant fame, but the reality is a long, lonely grind where clarity, discipline, and spine are your only constants. The journey will strip away the noise, the distractions, and the false friendships. It will demand that you stand on your own 2 feet, face your own demons, and build something real from nothing. And when you do, the view from the top is yours alone to savor. So stop waiting for the crowd to cheer. Stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Clarity, discipline, and a damn spine. These are your tickets to rise, your armor in the fight, and the fuel that will keep your fire burning when everything else fades. When you embrace them, you don't just rise, you dominate.